This is recoveryradio.fm on WBDR, Lantana, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth, Boca Raton, Delray, and all of the Palm Beaches. Always raw, always real.
Recovery Radio Raw is a registered trademark of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Any unauthorized use of Recovery Radio Raw and its entities, well, that's strictly prohibited.
Recovery Radio Raw. Not your ordinary 12-step recovery radio show. We tell it like it is. No holds barred, 12-step recovery, solution style. Where we are not afraid to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when we share our experience, strength, and hope. Now, join your host, Indian Bob, and his guests getting edgy to the down and dirty of the raw, the real, the recovery. 12-stepping it recovery solution style. Right now, it's R to the third power. It's your triple R, R, R. Indian Bob's Recovery Radio Raw, baby.
Yeah, I don't think H-Man's awake tonight, but we're gonna try to do our best while he's snoozing over there. Welcome aboard to Recovery Radio Raw. I am your host, Indian Bob, and we are a 12-step talk radio show. We discuss the 12-step solution to addictions of all types, such as booze, drugs, gambling, sex, food, and many other addictions and disorders. Oh, and there's one other addiction, and this applies to Herman, H-Man, hot dogs, and hamburgers. So we got to, yeah, summertime's over, so no more cookouts, so I guess we're safe. And Herman's still trying to think. He's like, you okay tonight, man? You seem kind of like tired or something. Oh, you're tired. Yeah, he nodded his head. Yeah, he is. He's tired. So it's Indian Bob and the Reaper. And I think we're going to be making this a regular thing on Fridays, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think you have now a steady...
Yes.
Yeah, because with your job and the changes and all the rest of it. I didn't even get to pick the day, but now finally we got one.
Yes.
Yes. So it's a
Hopefully
pleasure.
It stays this way.
Now, I hope you've never tried building houses.
Not lately, anyways.
Okay, because the way that you just set up the cord to stop your phone, you put a coffee cup down, and you're charging your phone, and you put the cord on the opposite side of the coffee cup. So the moment you lift the coffee cup, the cord's now going to stretch back out,
and the phone is going to slide.
Yes, exactly.
And it's going to make a clank, and you're going to give me hell about it.
Well, that's why I figured I'd start off with, and then I can say I told you so afterwards. So, you know, a couple of nights ago we were talking about intimacy, and we got to talk about you and your girlfriend and some of the things that came to mind for you, and I thought it was really cool. And we were out in the parking lot after the show, and I thought about, you know, what are men like in recovery? And I said, I think we both at the same time said, no, we need to change that somehow because two rough-looking guys talking about where did all the real men go? and it was about the same time. Yeah. And none of that.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, it won't work.
Nope.
So, but we can talk about men in recovery.
Right.
And some of the things that need to change, but it's got to be phrased accordingly,
right?
And it's a difficult thing to do, but you know, the bottom line is that through a lot of different things that we discover that, well, here's the thing, right? You're a pretty hard guy,
right?
Okay, I mean, tough guy,
right? No, not so much anymore.
No, not so much anymore, but prior to your recovery?
Back in my day, I could hold my own.
Well, I remember you telling me stories about you guys used to run down the block in a certain area, and if you survived,
Yes.
whoever survived and got down there first,
Yes.
and the last one had to buy the booze.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it's no different. I did so many challenges throughout my life. I used to eat worms and things like anything
Nice.
that I could make money off of, especially if I was feeling good. And I chewed a bottle one time.
Ouch.
Yeah. I don't remember it hurting, but I do know it was sore the next day.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. And I've jumped off things and done all kinds of things. So, when it comes down to finding recovery and people start saying grow up. Mm-hmm. I think I said that to you a few times.
Of course.
What exactly does that mean, especially when we're grown men when we come in?
We think we're grown men when we come in, but the truth
I knew I was.
No, the truth is we're insecure little children that think they know something, and the truth is we really don't know too much of anything because we lived by this code of, you're not going to find my feelings. You're not going to see what my pain level is. You're not going to see anything about me. I'm going to put on a mean mug, and you're going to stay the hell away from me.
Oh, the
Plain and
defense
simple.
mechanism.
Yes,
Anger.
the wall.
Yeah.
Yes, anger.
I think you mentioned something about me the first time you saw me at a meeting.
Yes, and I could tell you were just one of those guys that deserved respect right off the bat. You had that look to you that you could tell it was, I guess the only way I could say this was from the streets.
Yeah,
I can't say it any other way.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was,
right?
And you always had to carry that look,
correct,
in order to send a message of respect. And I think that even over the years that I've been here, that guy is still like right there. And I think you've seen me get the look when I'm angry, right?
Oh yeah.
And you've heard me on the phone a few times.
Oh yeah, and I've seen you in person do it too, and it gets pretty intense sometimes.
But it makes me uncomfortable too.
Right.
And that's the difference. Back in the day, it was then, okay, the switch is getting thrown and all hell is going to break loose.
Right.
And I've learned a lot. As a matter of fact, the very first group I had at the treatment center I went to was how to use your anger productively.
Ooh.
And see, me, and going by what we're discussing right now, as far as that goes, it was, it's productive because I keep people away.
Right.
It's productive because it prevents people from getting inside.
Absolutely, yes.
And it's not very productive when the switch gets thrown and I wake up in jail with somebody else's blood on me and I can't remember what I did. And now anger can be productive in a lot of different ways. So it depends. I think that when it comes down to the clinical expression for anger is fear expressed outward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're angry, we're actually afraid.
Right.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going,
we're fear-based people.
Right, exactly.
Plain and simple.
We suffer from 100 forms of fear.
Right.
The book says that.
Yes.
And I couldn't make that connection because I'm like, how can anger be fear? Mm-hmm. So my sponsor actually, when I was looking at character defects, and he said this, when you go from seeing you can't even get a cup of coffee and you're trying to hold the phone now and you're backing away from the microphone. What kind of coffee are you drinking? Look at the cup.
Yes. Yes, Iron Bean coffee.
And where can they get that?
I'm not sure.
Come on, man. You're going to be a radio show host
I know,
sometime.
but I really...
IronBeanCoffee.com.
Oh.
Say hello to Corey and thank him for the nice
Corey,
hot
thank you for the coffee.
Of black
it's
coffee.
Awesome, by the way.
And except he cleaned the cups.
That's a clean cup?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know what the heck is wrong with him.
Why? I don't get it.
I think it was Hannah Marks was on the show.
Oh, that explains it.
Earlier this week, and actually it was Monday night, and so he brought in coffee, and she already had. Actually, I had a mean bean also, and he said, "Well, just pour it in the cup." She had McDonald's coffee, and then she looks at it and she goes, "But the cup is dirty." And I'm like, "No, that's the extra flavor. That's what we do." How many times have you actually thoroughly washed your coffee cup?
My coffee cup? Don't touch my coffee cup.
Thank you. See,
you just don't do it.
So, those are some of the things that don't change about us.
Right.
So back to the anger stuff. It's really hard. I think I was, I know I was very, very angry when I came in.
Right.
Number one, I didn't like being there. It was something my lawyer hooked up for me, and I went to this treatment place, and I had to cash pay because insurance didn't cover it way back in the dark ages. And, I would go in, and the first group that I was in at that treatment center was how to use your anger productively, and I was pissed off.
Right.
Because I thought it was like the dumbest thing I had ever heard in my life.
Pretty much.
Use my anger productively. And my anger has never been productive in my life. Ever has it been.
It's always worked against me.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. We're built that way.
Yes.
And I ended up raising my hand.
I don't think we're built that way. I think we learn that behavior over a course of time.
Well, I know that I know where I learned it from, and we'll get to that a little bit later because it is a learned thing,
right?
And especially when there's a lot of angry people around us, and there's you shouting and yelling, and sometimes our perception of things, and especially when there's physical abuse involved. And I know because I went through that as a kid.
Right.
Ever since my dad left when I was 3, I was the brunt of everything that my mother could throw at me.
Right.
And that builds a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And then, of course, I grew up in an age where a woman who had 5 kids and didn't have a man in her life, I got into fights because they would call my mother name. I couldn't stand my mother, but I'm getting into fights to... and
defend it.
Yeah, and then I started learning some other ways to effectively defend myself, got very proficient at it, and all of a sudden it became just a part of my life, and people needed to watch out. So it is learned behavior.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that's never productive.
No, it never is.
It's a difficult situation. I've seen you angry. Yeah. Almost look like you want to tear somebody's neck off.
I was angry the other day when I had to ask somebody to leave.
Well, but for just cause.
Yes. And because I was there by myself, I restrained myself.
Well, not only that, but it was a productive solution.
Right.
Because, number one, the community was affected.
Correct.
And those people are in need of being protected.
Right.
Right? It's a protective environment. It's a sober environment. And you got an individual who's overstepping the boundaries and trying to provide substances and all the rest of it.
Right.
He's lucky I wasn't there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because...
Let's not have that conversation right here.
Yeah, we're not going to go that deep into it, but the bottom line is that it was productive because, number one, you felt it, and then secondly, you reined it in and said, if you want to own this...
Right. I'll help you.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't want to own it, you got to go.
Right.
Plain and simple.
And guess what? You're not angry anymore.
No.
Yeah. Problem solved.
Absolutely.
It's not always that easy.
But it's amazing how somebody can sit there and try to sell you that BS to no extreme when you tell somebody that you understand what they're doing and you understand that you've already done what they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So, come clean so I can help you, or you got to go. I mean, it's really simple. But the one thing about that is today I was able to restrain myself. Now, the guy that I was before, there would have been no restraining myself. No. It would have just came to blows, and plain and simple, he would have had to go. Yeah. Or I would have been going in handcuffs.
Yeah, been there a couple times.
Yeah, of course.
And then I get on the phone and. I think the last conversation with an individual was very cut and dry and all the rest of it. But at one point, and I can't excuse the anger.
Right.
But when I start a conversation and I'm in charge, the bottom line is if I say, listen, I'm going to have a conversation with you. I don't want to hear anything from you.
Right.
I'm going to make this very clear for you. And then you still...
Yeah. Have to open your mouth.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so, oh man, a 2x right upside the skull ought to be good.
But when somebody does that repetitively over and over and over, how many chances do you give a person? I mean, the person we're talking about, he had like 8 or 9 chances before.
Too many.
It was enough. Enough is enough. And I think a lot of it stems from entitlements.
But we come in, I was angry because I was in meetings.
Right.
I thought, okay, I'm going to this treatment center. I'll have my own apartment, and it'll be shared with another guy.
Right.
And then I got moved in across the street where there were 2 bedrooms, and one was a single bedroom, the other one was 2 guys. And I think it took them a day to realize that I should be in the single room. Okay, because I didn't want
that long, really.
Well, I think it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and something happened in the morning, and
that's all it took.
Yeah, pretty much. So this group really ticked me off when they were talking about anger, and I had raised my hand and I spewed.
Right.
I upchucked all the rage I could about the idiocy of that topic, how to use your anger productively, and they cleared the room.
Oh.
And they came back in and locked all the doors. And they looked at me and they said, "We got you out. We can put you back in."
Right.
And I was completely clueless.
Ooh.
And to this day, almost 16 years ago, and I still don't remember what I said in there, and they didn't tell me.
Oh.
One of the people who ended up being my counselor said, "I want you to go back to the apartments, and I want you to ask these 3 guys how they felt when you were saying what you did in that meeting." And
so you did that?
it was the first suggestion I ever took in recovery.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know why. maybe it was something giddy about me going, okay, then maybe I scared them. Well, apparently, because they took everybody out of the room. But they all said the same thing. That if they didn't feel like they were in a safe environment, they would have done everything they could to get out of that room.
Wow.
And, none of them really told me what I said, and I really didn't care. But the funny thing is I really didn't, accept the fact, even though all 3 of them had said it.
Right.
And later on, when I finally got a sponsor, he said, people can tell you that you walk like a duck. If one person does tell you that, chances are they could be wrong. But if 2 or more do, start quacking.
Yeah.
And I went right back to that moment, and I thought that was me. They were telling me I was a duck. And there were multiple of them telling me I was a duck, and I needed to learn how to start quacking.
With his feathers all in an uproar.
Oh, yeah, all ruffled and, defensive. Rose, we love you.
Hey, Rose.
She says, I know what you mean. Hated my dad. He got murdered. I feel bad, but whatever. And see, that attitude is still there. And Rose, someday, well, maybe not, okay? Because I can tell you this. I hated my dad. I didn't know him. He left when I was 3. But I understood that him leaving created all of this physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I took from my mother as a result. And my dad died when I was about 18 years of age, and I was told that nobody knew where he was, and yet when he was dying in the hospital, all of a sudden they knew how to contact us and everything else. And I literally, and this may sound uncomfortable to those of you that are listening on the radio, but this is the actual thought that was running through my head from Connecticut all the way up to Michigan. I plotted his murder. And I was going to go into that hospital room, and if he was, whatever was plugged into him, stuck in him, or whatever, I was going to yank it out and watch him. And by the time I got there and I went into the room, I saw this man laying in a hospital bed, and nothing. All that rage, all of the things that I thought, all instantly went away. And I turned around and walked out of the room, and I stood out in the hallway while my brothers and sisters talked to him, because I didn't have a connection to it. The only amends that I have not done as yet is him.
Oh, wow.
I have to do a graveside amends, and I'm willing to do that. It's just,
you got to get back up north.
Yeah, I've got to get the opportunity to travel to Michigan and get all the information, because it was a long time ago. And I'm willing to do that because here's how that anger became productive. Number one, I didn't do what I thought I was going to do. Secondly, through the work of the program, that anger dissipated because I was pointing the finger at somebody that I didn't know his side of the story. None of it. Never ever heard from him, so how could I possibly know? And it wasn't him that was to blame. It was my mother. She's the one who was doing the things to me that she did. And, I wish I could have heard his story. And I really think that, when I get that opportunity, that it's going to be a cleansing that, going to be finite.
It actually is, because I actually did my amends with my father. Now, my father was completely different. He was there, but he was abusive to my mom, and he was abusive to us. So there was a lot of pitted anger growing up as a young child.
Yeah, see, now my oldest sister knew of my father beating my mother.
Oh,
and
okay.
I didn't know that until many years later because I was 3 years old.
Right.
But she used to crawl under her pillow and put the blankets over her to try to stop from hearing my mother screaming, because he would come home drunk and drag her into the bathroom, figuring that was, because we were in bed. So,
well, back then, I mean, that's what a lot of guys did. They got drunk and they came home and they would smack mom around, or they would beat him up. And I can tell you, I remember plenty of times where my dad didn't even care. When I was in my mother's arms, he would start pounding on her. Yeah, and he had no remorse to it.
Right, and I'm sure that my dad didn't either. Josh Craig says, my dad died when I was 16 from heroin. I was angry for many years until, I'm going to assume, the work, because it says ... and I can't get the rest of it. And I've known Josh for years. Matter of fact, I called him not too long ago. And Josh, I hope your wonderful wife told you about being on the show next week.
Oh, nice.
Because it's going to be fun. Well, and it's going to be a very interesting one, because it's about relationships and how they come. And I had actually said to his wife at the time when I found out they were dating that it wasn't going to work out between the two of them, that I didn't think it was going to work out. And not because either one of them was bad, because Josh is a great guy, other than being an Eagles fan, which I do hold against him. But, they were opposites, and somehow through not just their own recovery programs and everything else, not only did they stay in the relationship, but they're married and they got a beautiful baby.
Oh, that is a beautiful child. Too.
Yeah, and so, you can never wonder...
Right.
Or even understand sometimes how things happen in recovery by putting one foot in front of the other. And so I had talked to his wife at the Moments of Change conference at the Palm Beach Breakers, because I was there all week, and so was she. And we were talking about old times. Like I known both of them through all of their recovery.
Right.
So, she was revealing some things to me, and I said, it would actually make for a really good show to show that there are successful relationships in recovery where both people are in the program, and the end story, which, well, I shouldn't say the end story, but the beginning, really. Yeah. I mean, a child's there now, and that's the beginning of what a family looks like.
Yes.
So, Josh, I hope she told you. Got to take care of the baby. Hear you soon. So, and then he's already now he's got to go take care of the baby. But the bottom line is that when it comes down to using our anger productively and becoming real men,
right,
as opposed to a fake man, I don't know. Although there are some out there, but I think
there's a lot of them out there. Come on,
I think
let's be real.
Well, listen. The original topic was where did all the good, what happened to real men?
Right.
Right. I was in Walmart. I think I told you about that.
Okay, let's define that so people understand what we're actually thinking here. A real man goes to work every single day. A real man does not stay home and clean the house. A real man works 2 jobs to put bread on the table. He does everything that they used to do in the 70s and 80s. And for some reason, society has changed where the women are going out and working. They're doing everything that a man should be doing.
Okay, be careful with the Neanderthalism.
Oh.
Is that a word, Herman? Neanderthalism? I think.
I'm not
I think there's a balance.
Women.
No, I know, I get that, but it needs to be explained a little better.
Okay.
I'm kind of that way. I mean, every woman I've been with has always been at home. And I've been the provider. That's because of the day and age that I grew up.
Right.
And, I don't have a problem if a woman wants to work. I encourage them because they have to have a sense of identity. And I think that when it comes down to equality and all of those things, that we really have to recognize the power of women, the intelligence of women, and that they want to play a role in society.
Right.
The thing that bothers me, though, and this, again, may be kind of old-fashioned, is that with all of these 2-parent jobs, and they both go out and they both go to work, and the kid goes to school and then goes to aftercare.
Right.
That somewhere that the family system breaks down.
Yes,
and it concerns me sometimes. And that doesn't mean necessarily just because somebody stays at home and takes care of the kids and the dad goes out to work that it's going to be any better.
Right.
But it's just, I think it's better for as far as kids.
I guess my perception of things is a little bit different, but I don't want to jump back into the
All right, wait a minute.
Neanderthalism.
Listen to this, because Bridget is a prime example of what we're talking about when it comes to real men. I work full time while my husband is home waiting to go to jail for his 7th DUI. Okay?
Go husband. 7th DUI.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
7th DUI while your wife goes to work full time.
Wow.
Okay? This is the stuff that we are actually talking about,
Right.
Bridget, is that somewhere in there, and I know people, and I don't even make a guy my friend if I know that they're living off of the wife and doing nothing. I think that there are a lot of stay-at-home dads nowadays.
Yes, there are.
And I got news for you. Just as if it was a stay-at-home mom, that's the toughest job I know.
It really is.
So, you can't take away from that position just because they're home. If you think about a mom, how many degrees do you think it takes to take care of kids?
A lot.
You got to be a chef.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be a dry cleaner and a laundromat. Right? Mm-hmm. You got to definitely
be a house cleaner.
Yeah.
You got to be laundry. There's a lot of things when it comes to being a mom.
And a counselor.
Absolutely. I'm not, listen,
teacher.
I was not knocking mothers at all.
They should be,
I don't understand.
No, I know, but I want to make everybody else know that we know. But the bottom line is there's several degrees and an educator and all the rest of it. So, it's a prime position. And the reason I say that is because I really value the fact that you have somebody in the home that can do all of those things to raise the kids right and without worrying about it. She says, yep, but I tend to the house and make all meals.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to cook.
Oh,
No, you can say
I love to cook. Absolutely.
You can say hell.
Okay.
It's okay. Just because you're on thin ice. Herman.
That's why
Herman,
he's
are
so
you listening?
salty.
Tell him he's on thin ice. Okay, because
how thin is the ice,
It was
Herman?
twice in 1 week, right?
Ooh.
That you had to jump over there. You and Dimitri almost banged heads together the other night because he let out a word that, but it went live on Facebook.
Yes, I know. I heard it.
Okay, we're digressing.
Yes.
But there's value in relationships that work the way that they do. But when it comes down to the anger aspect of which is what we've been talking about, because anger stops us from doing a lot of things.
Yes, it does.
Anger possesses us. The other part of anger is we were talking about I said the clinical term for anger is fear expressed outward.
Right.
And for an easy explanation for those of you listening is that if you're tooling down the road, have you ever driven down the road, right? And there's maybe a half a mile down the road. There's somebody at the intersection, and they're getting ready to go out, and they see you, and they sit there.
Yes.
And then when you're just about on top of them, that's when they decide to pull out and go slow.
Absolutely.
Right? Yep. And guess what happens? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Angry.
Oh, how about that? And so why is that fear? Because they pull out at the last second, and they go slow. You think you're going to hit them, and you're scared. Things happen when it comes down to the fear aspect of anger, and that's how we express it initially.
Right.
Is through anger, especially when we're afraid of something. If I'm afraid that you're going to get in between my ears, I got news for you.
Yes.
Or the biggest way we express anger is when we hear the truth about us.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the worst.
Because honesty comes in bits and pieces, but the truth
comes fast and hard.
Yes.
And it's gonna piss you off first.
Yes. And we don't like it.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
not.
we're gonna let you know we don't like it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably one of the best ways that I was taught with my sponsor, because he had told me that ahead of time. The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off. And I'm going to piss you off. Not because I'm trying to make you angry, but because I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
So I had kind of a forewarning.
Right.
And if I could count on, I don't know, maybe the city of Miami, how many times that he angered me and I wanted to smack him one, it would be the population of Miami. But I learned to stop and think about what he was saying instead of, initially I'd get angry and then I'd think about it and I'd look for the truth in it.
Right.
And did I handle it well all the time?
No.
No, but I never hit him.
No.
So that's productive.
Yes.
Yeah. I've thought that about you. I haven't hit you.
Not recently.
No, what do you mean not recently? Listen, I scared you one time. I don't think I ever. Oh, I did hit you.
Yeah.
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 Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
But I was showing you something.
Yes. You can justify it and rationalize it all you want. It's okay.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Right. Well, I guess I could because it was effective. And it wasn't really a real hit.
It really wasn't.
No, but I was definitely on target.
Oh, yeah.
And you had your hands on me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was instructed to put my hands on
Yes.
you.
And you did. I mean, who does that? Here, grab me by the neck. I guess something I want to show you.
Now, see, if you wouldn't have done that quick, the instantaneous, you've been up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're built.
Right.
And not everybody is. So we're going to take
But
a quick...
not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah,
either.
exactly. And every once in a while, I still do. So hang tight, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away, or I'll send the Reaper after you.
Hey guys, James Sweezy here, real quick. If you're experiencing daily fatigue or having trouble sleeping, I found a product that was designed to help improve symptoms associated with post-acute withdrawal syndrome. TheLiquidRecovery.com provides supplements designed by people in recovery for people in recovery. The AM formula helps to improve energy and supports natural relief from brain fog. The PM formula helps support natural sleep so you can fall asleep and stay asleep, and it helps reduce feelings of anxiety or irritability. The folks at theliquidrecovery.com want to be clear that this product will not get you clean and sober. It's simply another tool for your toolbox to help combat fatigue and sleeplessness. Order now at www.theliquidrecovery.com and be sure to enter the discount code RADIO for free shipping. That's www.theliquidrecovery.com. James Sweezy, I'm out.
Floridians everywhere are turning into energy experts with new smart tools from FPL. With your online energy dashboard and the new FPL mobile app, you can stay on top of your energy use anytime, anywhere. And with the new projected bill feature, you have time to learn how to save even more. Take the online home energy survey at fpl.com/easy to save, and you could save up to $300 a year.
Welcome back to Recovery Radio Raw. Give us a call at 844-INDNBOB, 844-463-6262. And now, the voice of recovery, Indian Bob.
Yeah, that really pisses me off. I got news. Herman looks up like, what? That they call me the voice of recovery when I'm the voices of recovery. Welcome back to Recovery Radio Raw. I am your host, Indian Bob, joined by the Reaper of Recovery. Can I call you Reap?
Reap?
Yeah, Reap. Well, you reap what you sow.
Right.
Yeah. And you've been reaping some stuff over the past couple of years.
Yes.
I was told that you're a junior of me today, and I'm sure you've never heard that before.
No, I've never heard that.
Yeah, you're always stealing my material and stuff.
I would never do such a thing. Why would I steal?
I give. Marcia makes a very valid point, although I can't read the rest of her comment. It says, although anger isn't always from fear, I get angry as in having to leave the room, I guess is what's there. It says ROO. But that's using your anger productively,
right,
Marcia. You know, if we have the ability to walk away, you know, that old adage, it takes a bigger man to walk away.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you know that now.
It only took me 44 years to learn that.
Yeah, that's all. You know, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, and
definitely.
Sometimes never.
Right.
I experienced it outside of a meeting.
Right.
And, you know, I wanted to step into something, and a friend of mine said, no, man, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to prove yourself. And then I started to walk away, and you know what happens then, right? They get louder, and the name calling. Yeah.
Yes.
come on.
Buttons are being pushed.
Yeah, be a man, be a man. I turned around like 3 times. Next thing I know, there's 3 people trying to stop me from going over there. And I finally walked with them.
Right.
But that did not stop me from still wanting to turn around.
Right.
And I ended up getting to my vehicle, and when I was driving out of the parking lot, I was going to stop right in the middle of it, fling the door open, and I didn't. And the entire way home, all I could think was, because we know what they're calling us, right? Because we're going to walk away. And I called up my sponsor, and I said, man, I really want to hurt somebody right now. And he said, do you think you're going to do any drugs or drink? And I said, no. And he said, well, what happened? So I told him, and he said, I'm proud of you. And I said, for what? And he goes, you just won the greatest fight of your life.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what are you talking about? He said, you didn't have to prove yourself.
Right.
You went along with it regardless of what he was saying. You followed the direction of 3 other people, and you made it home. And I was like, wow. I didn't think of it. And as I thought about that, the greatest fight of my life, it was a very serious fight.
Right.
But the fight I was fighting was against me.
Right.
And that was huge for me, because I knew that from this point forward, I really didn't have to act on the idiocy.
Right.
So anger became very productive because it brought me to that lesson.
So before you picked up the phone, how long were you driving, and how angry, and how many times did you hit that steering wheel before you realized it was time to pick up that phone?
Oh, I thought I was breaking my window.
Oh.
Okay, the door, the steering wheel, the dashboard,
But you sat with that anger for, what, 5 minutes,
no,
10 minutes or so?
longer than that. Yeah.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
So it festered in your brain.
Yeah, it took about 20 minutes to get to the house. And I was actually the car next to me had seen me. I was just wailing on crap at the red light at PGA Boulevard. And,
I believe it.
And I looked over and I said, what the f- you looking at? You know? And so now I'm pissed off at the world because I didn't get to prove who I was.
Right.
And I got home, and I probably sat in that for another 10 minutes, and then I called him up when I could breathe.
Right.
Because I was still very rageful. So it did, it's funny how those lessons come and how tough they can be.
Yes.
Excuse me. But the bottom line is it can be productive, especially if we learn from it.
Yeah.
And I never, ever learned from it.
No, not at all.
Consequences, let's see, Joey is doing a lot better. Nice. I like that. I'll tell you who that was after the show.
Okay.
Anyway, when it comes down to, because I've seen you go through things personally. I mean, like literally seen you, and I don't get on your case about it. I explain it to you,
right?
All right, and I tell you what to look for,
right?
And that it's within you, right? It's not necessary. Well, okay, well, really, sometimes it is the individual. I can't deny that, right? Because if I deny it with you, I mean, you're part of it, so it would be definitely a fruitless endeavor, right? But with some certain individuals, man, it's just like it goes on and on and on, and sometimes that's the only. They just need a punch in the throat. I'm kidding when I say, no, I'm not kidding when I say that. Listen, I get real with me. Sometimes I really think that that's what somebody needs is a punch in the throat, especially when they're acting like an ass, Bottom line is, yes, you can say that one too. You're learning. and you can say damn.
Nice.
Okay, so you got hell, damn, and ass.
Nice. I've got mental notes of those.
Yes.
That I'll probably never use.
Corey knows. He's over there nodding his head, and I will give you the 7 things that you cannot say after the show.
Okay.
Okay, and if I write them on a piece of paper, then you'll be able to
probably,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, either way. I mean, I've been known to say "fathermucker," and and Herman looked up just to make sure, so people get the gist of it. And guess what, Herman? That's a good one, right? Now he gave me like an acronym for. Let me see if I could sugar. Honey, iced tea.
Yes.
Right? I remember it. And when I get ready to say the word, I always forget it. So, but it does come in handy. So some people can get
Somebody wants to know why you're so angry. What's going on with you tonight?
Wait a minute. Who's so angry?
I don't
know. Wait a minute. Dave Dave Green says, "Sorry, I'm late. Why is Bob so angry?" I'm not angry. Am I acting angry? Do I feel angry?
A little bit.
Yeah,
You
really?
look a little bit. A little bit of red in the face. Your eyes are dilated.
It's probably because I'm spewing that, about some people really do need a punch in the throat. I'm really not angry, but we're talking about anger and how it can be productive in our lives,
right?
Especially when we know that it's never been productive,
right?
And yet we've just given some fine examples of how productive it can be.
Right.
But in your situation, as a guy who is definitely a huge recovery supporter of yours, you've been in some angry situations.
Yes.
And sometimes you look like a little kid when I'm telling you that it's just one of those things,
yes.
right? So I know I've gotten to your insides,
right?
Which is the most important part, because when you do that, I already know you're going to go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm going to work on it.
Under my breath, I'm calling you a few other things that I really can't say on the radio, but yeah.
Nice do-rag, Reaper.
Nice. What's up, Paulie?
Hey, guys, Paulie. Wahoo! Nice shirt, Bob. And nice do-rag. It's not a do-rag. It's a bandana, dude. Don't you know the difference? Weren't you wearing a...
What the hell's a do-rag?
Well, wait a minute. This is Paulie, who was wearing a dickie on his head today.
Ooh.
Or a beanie or something like that.
A beanie, really?
Yeah. I ran into him down in Lantana, and he's got this thing on his head. Looks like a knit hat for a girl, except it's stretched all the way on his head, and it's got something hanging on the bed.
Interesting.
Yeah, like he had a wad of hair tucked up in it.
Oh, he's got the man bun kicking.
No, his hair's not long enough for that. I think he has a receding hairline too. Yeah, he's getting older. So that'll take care of him and the do-rag and the nice shirt. Yeah. I get even some way or another. Paulie is a wonderful human being, and I like picking on him, just like he likes to come in and go, nice shirt, Bob. Yeah, and I do have sleeves.
You do?
No, not now.
Oh.
I mean, I do have shirts with sleeves.
Right.
So, and sometimes that really ticks me off when people ask me that. Don't you have shirts with sleeves? I'm like, no, I like to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in those times where you've been angry and I've had to kind of give you and I don't like the word advice, but some experience, strength, and hope.
Right.
Because I do have experience with being angry. I think we all do. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be in 12-step recovery to gain from this show as far as anger becoming productive. If you've ever walked away from some idiot who's spouting a bunch of crap and you didn't walk over and punch him in the throat, guess what? Your anger became productive.
Yes. Especially
in those situations. Mm-hmm. When Marcia says that she gets angry enough to walk out of the room, I got news for you. That's productive anger.
Right.
You didn't lash out. You didn't say what was on your mind. You walked away from it and went to another space.
And I'll bet you the next time that happened, she handled it in a different manner.
Right. More than likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how the productive anger works.
Well, usually it is. He says, whatever, it's a slouchy beanie. Let's get it right.
Slouchy beanie.
Have you ever worn a slouchy beanie?
No.
Okay, so
I've never even heard of that.
Back to that original topic, what happened to real men?
Yes, what's going on there, Paulie?
Obviously, in Paulie's case, a slouchy beanie.
Ooh.
So,
that must be a New York thing.
Let's see. Early sobriety, I was an angry man. Didn't take much to flip the crazy switch. I think that's pretty accurate with all of us, Dave. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about that prior to you coming into the show, was that early on, the switch gets thrown. Yeah. And I think I said that, and that's when I wake up in jail with somebody else's blood on me, and I don't even remember what I did. And the bottom line is the truth angers us too. And that's one of the things that if we learn how to accept that truth without acting out on our anger just then became productive because it brings us awareness that, wait a minute, that might be the truth.
Oh, you mean the anger like when we went to that conference and Teddy was sitting there giving me a ration of hell for the way I was picking on Allie, and you're standing behind me going, I got your back. I got your back. And all I could think of is, here I am. I'm going to hit this guy in the mouth, and that's going to be it. And the truth was, while I sat there in it, while you were standing behind me, that was the first time I made a conscious decision not to act out on something.
Yeah, and then I walked up to him afterwards and gave him a little truth.
At that point, it was like, if I do something here, AA was the last door that was open to me.
And you would have closed it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So,
and I hated being alone.
In that moment, that anger became so productive that it kept you from losing what you already had.
Right. And also that night is when I wrote my 4-step. I wrote the entire thing, a book and a half.
I remember that.
Yes.
Do you know what I said to that guy?
No.
Because what he had said was, how dare you be mean or whatever, rude to the person that's saving your life.
Right.
I went up
I
went up to him and I said, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And I gave him a straight shot of the first 164 pages where it says no human power could have relieved us from our alcoholism or addiction. That God, there's one who has all power. That one is God. Now, we may be of service and we may be able to do that because in the 11th step it says that we pray and meditation for his will for us,
right,
and the power to carry it out.
Right,
we're carrying out his will for us, not anybody else's. And it's very clear that I will tell you this. I've been around, right? Mm-hmm. And Paulie, who I absolutely love, I love picking on him too. He says styling with a thumbs up. I'm sorry, but you won't catch me with a slouchy beanie there, buddy.
No,
Joey, how about you?
Yeah,
no, I didn't think so.
No.
And, well, next Friday, the Reaper comes in the studio with a slouchy beanie. Let us both. Where do we get them? Is it in the women's department, Paulie?
Yeah, is it Macy's, JCPenney's? Let me know so I can get one before next Friday.
He probably ordered it out of Cosmopolitan magazine or something. I don't know. But I'm like, what is that on your head, dude? Okay, all right. I'll leave you alone, Paulie. He hasn't made any comments, but you want to know why? Paulie does not have that much game. It takes him a little while to come back. Yeah.
Oh, like Mr. 3-Pump Chump.
Oh, yes. No, that one was good.
Oh, it was good, but it sounds like that's where it's really going with that one.
Well, probably pretty close to it.
He's got 3 pumps on the little keypad, and now he's done.
Yeah, and he's done. He said, well, I put a thumbs up and said styling. Now, I want to have a survey here. How many men in our live Facebook feed on recoveryradio.fm have worn a what was it called? A slouchy beanie.
I guess. I don't know.
Okay, well, it even sounds droopy.
Yeah, it does.
So, again, when it comes down to that anger being used productively, Marcia says, she can walk out of the room. Dave says he was angry. Right. Josh said the same thing when his dad died from heroin. He was really angry, and I'm sure that until he started to do the work, and we start to discover that. And our anger really comes more often, especially in early recovery, by way of truth.
Yes.
And that was the first thing my sponsor said. The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
Right.
And, and I think even for everyday people, when the boss is getting on your case and he's like, you're really slacking. And you feel like you've been hammering it home every single day, and you're looking for the raise, and then you go in and ask him for it, and he tells you the truth. I got news for you.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get mad? Absolutely. What about little things in life? Like, actually, I won't go there. So that should be a good enough hint for you. When you stomp your feet, and right?
I don't stomp my feet.
Dude,
what are you talking about?
Okay, listen, it's an honest program.
Yes, absolutely.
I was present when you told me about it, and you were definitely stomping your feet.
Oh,
you ain't getting your way. When you ain't getting your way,
when I'm not.
Are
we going back to that?
No, we're anything, not just that.
I don't stomp my feet today.
Really, dude? I have seen you. I've done it to you out in this parking lot. And you put your shoulders down, your head down, and it's like you're kicking rocks, and then you finally
When you tell me the truth, yes, I drop my head. Yes, I get a little slouchy.
Okay.
But I don't stomp my feet.
Well,
don't you know how old I am?
No, I know how old you think you are.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have I used the G word? And by the way, everybody who's listening, the G word is grow. And then there's another 2-letter word that follows that, up. Right?
Hey, Bob, you know what I want for Christmas, right? This is a high
Dave
chair.
says, get up. I was just reading it as you jumped into it because I saw a high chair and I'm going, oh, yes. And a bib, Dave.
Oh,
You
yes.
know, so when he's blubbering away and the snots are rolling down.
And when I'm blaming everybody else, somebody can give me a binky and a bottle and a nap. And, you know, when I wake up, maybe I'll remember where I came from.
I got news for you that happened to me tonight. Remember I said I was going into public to get some ground sirloin? I'm over by the bakery because my son Hunter wanted some bread.
Right.
And he likes the bakery bread. And this kid walks up to me, and most of the kids in my neighborhood know me, and they know what I do.
Right.
So they always talk to me. And he said, how you doing, Mr. Bob? I got a problem. And he starts to tell me about it. And then he goes off on this tangent about writing Japanese. And I said, why are you writing Japanese? Are you going to Japan? And he said, no, but someday I will. And I said, listen, stop talking about your dreams and start living them.
Right.
But he was angry because he couldn't get a hold of anything, you know, and he doesn't have a job, and he's complaining that his parents are getting on his case. And I said, so then do what they ask.
Right.
Yeah, get a job.
Ooh.
Oh. Man,
There's that J word.
That didn't go over well.
I'm sure it didn't.
He says, well, I don't know how to do that. What do you mean? Hey, guess what? You're standing in Publix. He goes,
What's wrong with mom or dad showing them how to get a job?
Well,
or giving them the instruction.
How about a little self-initiative? How about some little self-motivation?
Well, how
You're
old are we
standing
talking
in a
about?
grocery store that has a computer setup where you can walk right over and apply
but
for a job.
How old of a kid are we talking about, though?
25.
Oh, never mind.
Yes.
That just shot me right down. 25?
I
He's
held
not a
that
kid no more.
Yeah, I held that off for the last minute because I'm like, you're living at home with mom and dad, right? And they're supposed to. Are you in school? Because if you're in school, I get it.
Okay.
Right? And maybe you're going for another 4 years. Maybe you're shooting for, a PhD or a master's or something.
So you'll be about 33 when you get out of school and still living off of mommy's nipple.
Well, that's the old adage for Jewish guys. they go to school, they work in their father's business, and then somewhere around 33, 35, they go on with their life.
Oh,
and
okay.
And for those of you that are Jewish, you know it's true, okay? Because it's a sure sign of it. But anyway, when I was talking to him, and he's angry about his own life, and it's his lot, I'm going, dude, it's you.
Yeah.
Because he was blaming mom and dad, and he's blaming circumstances and all the rest of it. And I said, all of that you have control over.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't have any control over my mom and dad. And I said, yes, you do.
It's got nothing to do with mom and dad.
If you get a job, guess what? They won't be on your case anymore. If you're doing things around the house to help out, they won't be on your case anymore. Right. It's always about that. Our literature says that if I have a problem with someone, something, or some situation, the problem lies within me.
Right.
I can't point fingers. I have to look at me first.
Right.
And that's always the biggest challenge.
Yes.
Because sometimes I've had people, actually I haven't had a lot of people say bad things about me, just one.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
and and that was a situation where, a lot of people ask me, well, aren't you angry? And I go, why? I don't have to defend something that I'm innocent of.
Right.
Only the guilty need to defend themselves. And was I angry about it when I first heard it? Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, okay, it's idiocy. But when I start to look at the truth of it and I'm laughing about it, I'm like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Because I have other things to do.
Right.
Yeah. So kids don't comprehend that concept. Netta, I would hope that they do at 25. I can tell you that.
Well, I hope mom and dad are showing them how to understand that.
Yeah, I already had a kid by then. Actually, I was 26 when I had my first kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I think I was 20 or 21.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was probably your first girlfriend.
Wow, shots fired. It must be Friday night, isn't it? No, that was I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 21, there was a guy at, you were down at Agape today, right?
Yes.
And,
is that how you say that?
It's agape.
Agape.
Yeah, which means love.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
And that's what they're all about.
Diego failed to tell me that.
Really?
Yes.
You would think that'd be the first thing he tells you.
Listen, I love that guy to death, but I don't understand half the words that come out of his mouth.
Well, they have a music program down there, and I had gone. I spoke last Friday to the clients, and when you told me, I had called Joseph and said my house manager was coming down and speaking there, and when it comes down to a guy like Diego, where you get kind of confused by him a little bit. That's one of those programs where you can see the love instantly.
Yes.
And the spark in everybody's eye. And all the rest. Yeah, it's very motivating. And apparently you came up with some ideas about your show, which we're building. The Reaper will be coming soon.
Absolutely. And not to a theater near you.
Oh, thank God, because that mug on a big screen, everybody, as soon as it showed up, everybody'd be running for the doors thinking it was The Exorcist or something.
Or Godzilla.
And I should be one to talk, right? But let's get back to anger productively. Listen, people, there are a lot of different ways you can handle your anger. And more often than not, it's in a detrimental manner. In relationships, in work, in the world in general, anger is one of the most productive things if we learn from it.
Right.
And in the moment before we act on it. Mm-hmm. And, I still think about whatever went on with that guy in Vegas to do what he did and have the pre-planned things in place.
Yeah, it was just something else.
He must have been angrier than all get out at someone or everyone.
There was definitely a mental disorder. in that one.
Without a doubt. And anger is a mental disorder.
Yes.
Because we're not born with it.
No.
We are just not born with it. And we're not born with fear either. It's not a gift that God gives us.
No.
And, and so the two have their commonalities. And again, the clinical people always say that anger is fear expressed outward. And I agree for the most part.
Right.
But a lot of times we're just built that way because we've learned it. And we've come from environments where anger is constantly there.
Right.
And we see what that anger is about. And usually it's harmful physically, emotionally, and mentally. And it wears on you. And it's learned behavior as a result. We understand what that looks like. And for those that suffer from that, broken homes or assaults and physical harm and mental harm, we're angry. Mm-hmm. And it makes it more difficult to get over it.
Right.
But I will tell you this, you can. So anger can be productive.
Absolutely.
And that music obviously means you get out of here, the show's done. Listen, I will hope everybody has a happy, clean and sober weekend. Stay out of trouble.
Yes.
We'll be back Monday evening, 8 p.m. here on recoveryradio.fm, our live Facebook feed, and those of you on 97.5 FM, 96.1 FM, 1340 AM. May God bless you and keep you. Until next time, I'm Indian Bob. I'm out.
Refugees hindsight